ways of making sure that it's sustainable and trying to mitigate anything that would lead to its degradation. And one of those issues or focal points is biodiversity. If it sounds all intimidating, well, then Samm is the one to simplify it for us. Samm, what do you have for us?
Good morning, Ayana, and good morning to the viewers again. Yeah, that's one of the big issues. How do we simplify biodiversity? I did start this conversation when we started the broadcast by saying it's not only about World Environmental Day, but it's also about the exhibitors. Nearly 3,000 people expected here at the Meet Convention Centre in Kimberley. Right now, I'm joined by Stephen May, who's an information officer at the South African National Biodiversity Institute. Stephen, thank you very much for joining me here on Morning Live. Let's start this conversation by a lot of people are still confused. What is biodiversity?
Okay, thank you. Biodiversity is a way in which maybe we deal with the living organisms and non-living organisms in our environment.
South Africa is the third most biologically diverse country in the world after Indonesia and Brazil. Talk to me about that and how we interpret this year's theme, 7 billion dreams, one planet, consume with care.
What is, say again?
The theme this year is 7 billion dreams, one planet, consume with care. How do you at SANBI interpret this year's theme?
Actually, what we are just doing, we are just encouraging the people just to conserve whatever we have in our environment, so that maybe we must sustain whatever we have, and then the future generation also must also explore the future that we are having.
Stephen, part of your job is to lead and coordinate research in this particular field of biodiversity. Talk to me about the amount of research. Are we, when it comes to understanding biodiversity, putting research together, sharing that information, how are we faring?
In terms of the research, we do have our scientists that are mostly dealing with the issue of the research. But me, in particularly, I'm just the information officer that just giving the information to the public when they do visit to our garden.
Okay, so let's talk about this role today. What will you be doing here today?
Just today, we are just going to show and display whatever is in the nature, and then to teach our children, our future generation, that they must be able to conserve everything that we are having now currently. Because some of the things that it used to happen or we used to have before, we don't have it currently now. So our main function is to see to it that we sustain those things for the future generation or for the future people. So that is why we are here doing our display just here. Yes.
Are we having success in transferring that information? When you interact with those children, what is the feedback you're getting? Or when you interact with the public in general?
In most people, especially, they didn't know actually what is botanical garden is. And then since it was transferred, maybe it was changed to be SANBI, South African National Biodiversity Institute. That is whereby even most of the students from the university and all the other institutes, they used to come and do some research to give more information to the public and to more information to the scholars or students in large.
Stephen, you've got one of the nicest looking exhibitions. There are quite a couple around here.
Yes, beautiful.
Part of that engagement, I see there's a lot of plants here. What kind of plants are we dealing with, and what role do they play in the teaching and sharing of information with children?
Yeah, even now, just to do the practical example, is that as you can see just now inside this hall, we are just only the people display these plants, and then it helps us also to minimize the issue of carbon dioxide. You see, since they do exchange of this oxygen and carbon dioxide, and now due to the fact that we are a lot of people just inside here, it helps us also to minimize the carbon dioxide inside here. So the most, even you can see, even the most plants that we are having, the crucial one is this cycad.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Stephen May from the South African National Biodiversity Institute. And just to tell you what they quickly do, they lead, coordinate research, monitor and reports on the state of biodiversity in South Africa. A little bit later, we're going to have a chat to the Minister of Environmental Affairs, Edna Malewa. She'll join us. We'll talk about what all of this means in the global scheme of things. We'll also unpack that theme for you a little bit later. I did say about 3,000 people expected here in Kimberley. I can tell you, I'm looking at loads of faces looking at me, so we'll unpack a little bit more of what this World Environmental Day is all about. Let's go to an ad break. After that, we'll continue with the program.